a forgotten one-night affair. Now he's her boss. She's falling for him, but he keeps pushing her away. Will love find a way, or will revenge take its place? Guys, grab your popcorn because what you're about to see in this captivating movie will amaze you. Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today, we're discussing a thrilling new Nigerian movie that's more than just entertainment. It's packed with valuable lessons you won't want to miss. So let's dive in. The movie begins with a young woman named Rosie who was involved with multiple men for money. One evening, she was with a man who refused to pay her the amount they had agreed on. In retaliation, she took his phone. At first, he didn't want to leave, but when Rosie threatened to report him to his wife with evidence, he finally gave in and left. That same day, a young lady named Jessica was on a phone call, happily telling her friend how wonderful her man was. In the background, Shally overheard the conversation and made fun of her. When Jessica tried to be friendly, Shally made it clear that she disliked seeing women around her father. During the conversation, Shally deliberately poured hot water on Jessica's leg, causing her to scream in pain and leave. Moments later, Femi, Shally's father, rushed in to check what had happened. When he learned what Shally had done, he confronted her, knowing full well what his daughter was capable of. However, Jessica pleaded on Shally's behalf, and Femi consoled her as they went to the room. The next day, Rosie's friend came over to visit her. Excitedly, she shared the news of her engagement and described how her fiancé had proposed. She advised Rosie to abandon her lifestyle of being with different men for money and instead open herself to true love, as that was what she truly desired. However, Rosie dismissed her words and called for a celebration instead. Later that night, while in her bedroom, Rosie received a call from Chief, a wealthy man she knew. He asked her to accompany him to Abuja, and she agreed. After the call ended, she checked her account and was thrilled to see that he had credited her with 3 million naira. That same night, while Femi and Jessica were fast asleep, they were suddenly startled awake by emergency screams coming from Shally's room. They searched the house frantically, but found no fire or signs of danger. When they reached the kitchen, they realized that Shally had been playing a prank on them. Furious, Femi gave her a serious warning and sent her to her room. Afterward, he apologized to Jessica, who then suggested that he take Shally to her mother. Annoyed, Femi left for his room. Femi later explained to Jessica that Shally's mother had left and he would never go after her. However, when he received information about her whereabouts in Abuja, Jessica was excited. She spoke highly of Femi as a great father and encouraged him to reconnect Shally with her mother, believing that it would create space for them both. Femi was thoughtful as he consoled Jessica. The next day, Lydia visited Rosie, who confided in her about the incident in Abuja. She revealed that Chief's wife had attacked her, forcing her to flee for her life. Lydia advised Rosie to leave that risky lifestyle behind and use her qualifications to find a decent job. However, Rosie refused, arguing that the millions she made each week were too tempting to give up. Lydia then grabbed Rosie's phone when a call came in and made it clear that Rosie was being forced into being the chief bridesmaid. After delivering her warning, she left. Later that night, Femi received Rosie's social media handle from a friend who knew her whereabouts. He was shocked to see how well she was doing. Just then, Shally entered the room and asked if he was planning to propose to Jessica, revealing that she had found a ring in his room. Femi confronted his daughter, demanding that she respect him. He then asked if she would be willing to reunite with her mother, who was still alive, but Shally refused, insisting that she had no mother before storming off. The next day at the office, a young man named Davis arrived, and his secretary, Ella, brought him breakfast. However, since this was not an official duty, he spoke to her rudely, warning her never to do such a thing again before sending her out. That same day, Rosie was doing a live recording in which she spoke to her fans about an upcoming event she would be attending. She expressed excitement about the great people she would be meeting there. Meanwhile, Femi was on his way home when he called his friend, requesting an address because he needed to drop off a package that had been given to him. After getting the details, he continued his journey. Later that day, Jessica was overwhelmed with joy when she saw the surprise that Femi had planned. He was about to propose to her. However, Shally was not happy about this. Just as Jessica was about to say yes, Shally suddenly screamed and fainted. Femi and Jessica rushed her to the hospital. When they returned home, Shally quickly went to her room, ignoring her father. Jessica was deeply upset because Shally had ruined what should have been the best moment of her life. Femi assured her that he would take Shally to her mother. Then he went to their room. What do you think? Is Femi handling this situation the right way? Should a father send his child to her mother just because he wants to marry another woman? The next morning, Rosie received a call from an unknown person who told her he had left a package for her outside. When she went to check, she found some baggage, and upon opening it, a young girl emerged, asking who she was. Confused, Rosie read the letter attached to the box and was shocked to realize that the girl was Shally, her daughter. Both of them stood in shock. Inside the house, Rosie quickly called her friend for help, explaining that she had no idea why Shally's father would put her in a bag and leave her at her doorstep just like that. Her friend was just as shocked at the revelation and advised Rosie to accept her daughter and try to make things right with her. After the call ended, Rosie went to the living room and asked Shally for her father's number so she could get an explanation. However, Shally firmly told her that she wasn't going anywhere, as she had not chosen to come into the world by herself. She then left for her room, leaving Rosie stunned. The next morning, Shally entered her mother's room and woke her up, urging her to get ready for work. She asked Rosie what kind of job she did, but none of Shally's guesses were correct. Rosie simply told her she was a businesswoman and quickly left to prepare breakfast, trying to avoid more questions. Shally, however, remained curious. Later that day, Rosie was on a call with a client, speaking recklessly, but she quickly adjusted her tone because Shally was around. As she was about to leave the house, Shally stopped her, unimpressed by how unserious her mother appeared. She then locked all the doors, preventing Rosie from stepping out in the indecent outfit she was wearing. This scene was quite amusing, and it seems that Rosie's so-called business may start facing challenges as time goes on. Let's find out how true that is. At the office that same day, Davis was reviewing some documents when he called Ella to point out an error she had made. However, instead of addressing the mistake professionally, Ella began to touch him seductively. Davis immediately warned her and sent her out of his office. One night, while Shally was watching a movie in the living room, she went to open the door and found an elderly man who claimed to know her father. Assuming he was her grandfather, she greeted him warmly. However, when Rosie saw him, she signaled for him to leave. Shally quickly understood what was going on and began to humiliate the man, telling him to return to his family. Embarrassed, he left. Rosie, unable to say a word, walked to her room in silence. Interesting. What do you all think? Another night, Rosie received a call from a man who offered her 500,000 naira to spend the night with him. Tempted by the large sum, she accepted the offer. However, as she was sneaking out of the house later that night, she was caught by Shally. Confronting her mother, Shally expressed her disappointment, questioning why Rosie had lowered herself to selling her body for money. In tears, she poured out all the pain she had bottled up over the years, telling Rosie that she was ashamed to call her her mother. She then walked away, leaving Rosie deeply affected by her words. That night, Rosie sat in her room, reflecting on everything her daughter had said. For the first time, she began to feel the weight of her actions and the pain they had caused. The next day at the office, Davis arrived, and Ella presented him with a gift, requesting that he be her Valentine for the upcoming holiday. However, Davis did not take this lightly. He firmly rejected her and immediately called HR to file a termination letter for her. The next day, Rosie dressed decently and informed Shally that she was going out in search of a job. Shally didn't believe her at first, but Rosie clarified that she had applied for a job online the previous day and had been invited for an interview. She made it clear that she didn't owe Shally any explanations and simply told her what to do while she was away. Later that day, Rosie returned home with good news, but Shally was already fast asleep. When she finally told her, Shally was not excited because she doubted whether her mother could actually keep the job. However, Rosie promised to do this for her so that she could be proud of her mother. But Shally ignored her and went back to sleep. The next day, Rosie arrived at her new workplace and introduced herself to Davis as the new secretary. The moment she saw him, memories came rushing back. He was the man she had fallen in love with after a one-night stand, but he had left without a word or exchanging contact details. Davis handed her a file containing all the information she needed for the job. When Rosie asked if he remembered her, his response made it clear that he didn't. Disappointed, she left and focused on her work. One weekend, Rosie's friend Lydia came over for a visit, and Rosie shared the good news about her new job. She also mentioned the man she had once called her Prince Charming, the man she had fallen for, who now happened to be her boss but didn't recognize her. Lydia was happy for her about the job but didn't comment much on the situation with Davis. Just then, Shally walked in and asked if they were gossiping about her, but they assured her they weren't. Lydia called Shally over, introduced herself, and the two started to get along. However, when Rosie went to get them some juice, Shally walked out on her mother. Lydia consoled Rosie, assuring her that Shally would come around one day. At the office the next day, Davis was explaining something to Rosie about her duties, but she was too distracted, staring at him lustfully. Though she initially claimed to understand what he had said, she suddenly asked him to repeat himself. That night, Rosie found herself wondering why Davis didn't recognize her, or if he was deliberately ignoring her. She made a short prayer, asking God to help her focus on her job and let go of her feelings for her boss. Around 2 a.m., while Rosie was scrolling through pictures of Davis, Shally, who had just woken up from a bad dream, came into her room because she was scared to stay alone. Noticing what her mother was doing, she asked if she liked her boss. Rosie then shared the story of how they met and how she had never gotten his contact. Shally, realizing how much her mother liked him, decided to help her win his heart. That night, they both had a wonderful time talking and bonding. Wow, it looks like Shally is starting to get along with her mother. Do you think it's right for Rosie to pursue a relationship with her boss? Share your thoughts as we follow this story to the end. The next morning, as Rosie was about to leave for work, Shally took her phone and car keys, suggesting a way for her mother to get closer to Davis. She wanted to gain access to his car, believing it would be a simple first step. Rosie smiled at her daughter's idea and left in agreement. That same day, after working hours, Rosie approached Davis and asked if he could give her a ride home. However, he insisted that she take a bus. Feeling bad about his response, she did as he said and took a bus home. Later that night, while Rosie was in the kitchen preparing dinner, Shally suggested another plan since the first one hadn't worked. She reminded her mother how Jessica had used her cooking skills to win her father's heart and encouraged her to try the same approach. Though Rosie was hesitant, she decided to give it a try, hoping it might work. Let's see how this idea turns out, because the last time someone tried this, we all saw what happened. The next day at work, Rosie prepared and brought lunch specially for Davis. However, he did not take it lightly. He raised his voice at her and gave her a stern warning never to try such a thing again. Embarrassed, Rosie left his office with her untouched food. Rosie was already feeling bad about the situation when Shally came up with another idea. This time, her mother shut her up, fed up with how bad her suggestions were. But Shally insisted. She told her mother to be straightforward and confess her feelings to Davis, saying that whatever happened next would be out of their control. Although Rosie was scared of being fired, she later agreed that it would be better to express her feelings rather than suffer in silence. Shally then told her mother to go and cook because she was hungry. The next day at work, Rosie finally poured out her heart to Davis, confessing her feelings for him. Davis got angry and admitted that he had recognized her all along, but had hired her only to help her improve her life. He reminded her about the importance of workplace ethics and, as a result, suspended her for a week before sending her out of his office. That night, Rosie was in a terrible mood and didn't even prepare dinner because of what had happened at work. Shally, sensing her mother's distress, brought her a glass of water and sarcastically asked how it felt to be rejected. Taking the opportunity to get back at her mother for her past mistakes, Shally made a few pointed remarks. But Rosie sat her down and explained why she had made the choices she did. She shared the painful truth of how she had gotten pregnant at a very young age and had been sent to the village. One day, her father came to visit and told her he was traveling abroad. Rosie had pleaded with him to stay until she gave birth, and he had agreed. But when that day finally came, she was so overwhelmed by the reality of motherhood that she abandoned her newborn daughter at the hospital and ran away, feeling unprepared to be a mother. Rosie apologized to Shally, who, despite her pain, left in tears because, no matter what, Rosie was still her mother. This is truly heartbreaking. Looking at what Rosie put her daughter through, all because she felt she wasn't ready to be a mother. Do you think her actions were justified? Share your thoughts as we continue to see how this story unfolds. The next morning, Rosie went to greet her daughter and apologized for not preparing dinner the previous night. She then told Shally about the special breakfast she had made for her that morning. Rosie took a moment to appreciate her daughter, expressing how grateful she was to have her in her life, which was all because of their fathers. They both enjoyed the moment together, sharing laughter and bonding over other things. That same morning at the office, Davis was restless. Unable to focus, he called HR and instructed them to inform Rosie that she should resume work the next day. HR carried out his request. But come to think of it, why would a man act so tough towards women who love him, especially when he is single? What do you think could be the reason for this? The next day, Rosie returned to work. She thanked her boss and promised to give her full focus and attention to her job. She then read out his schedule for the day and went to her office. After working hours, Davis offered to give Rosie a ride home, but she politely turned him down since she had driven to work in her own car. As she left, she couldn't help but wonder why he was suddenly being so nice to her. The following day, Davis was shouting at one of his employees due to a poorly done presentation. After scolding him, he instructed him to go and fix it. Rosie, who had just come in to drop off a document, overheard the conversation and decided to offer an idea that might help. She shared her thoughts with Davis, who was impressed by her suggestions. She then left his office. Later that day, Davis approached Rosie to commend her for her brilliant idea, as it had helped them secure the contract. In celebration, he invited her to go out with him, but she declined, reminding herself of the promise she had made. She then left, leaving Davis to wonder about her resistance. That evening, Rosie shared the details of her boss's invitation with Shally. She admitted that she planned on making things difficult for Davis, even though she hated the fact that she had fallen in love with him. To her surprise, Shally responded by saying she felt the same way, that she hated the fact that she loved her mother. Rosie smiled and promised to make it up to her. They hugged and cherished the heartfelt moment together. On a particular day, Rosie bought a cake for Shally, as it was her birthday. Shally was shocked that her mother actually remembered and immediately called out to her in excitement. They enjoyed the special moment together. Later that day, Femi and Jessica also came over to wish Shally a happy birthday, bringing gifts for her. Femi apologized to Shally for his past actions, explaining that he had needed some space. He was surprised to learn that Shally still wanted to stay with her mother. Before leaving, Femi introduced his fiancée to Rosie and invited her to their wedding. Rosie promised to attend and appreciated them before they left. The next day at the office, Davis finally opened up to Rosie about why he had left that night years ago. He confessed that their time together had been the best moment of his life, but because he didn't want to develop a connection with her, he walked away. He then revealed a painful truth. His fiancée had passed away just a day before their wedding, which had been a devastating moment for him. He explained that he had suspended Rosie from work because he was trying to suppress his feelings, but he had brought her back because he couldn't resist them anymore. He apologized and asked for another chance, and Rosie, understanding his pain, forgave him. A few weeks later, Davis visited Rosie at her home. Shally was surprised to see how handsome her mother's boss was. When Davis asked about Shally, she quickly tried to lie, saying she was her niece so that he wouldn't leave. However, Rosie corrected her and told Davis the truth, that Shally was her daughter. Davis then advised Shally to be proud of her mother as he was proud of her. They invited Davis to stay for dinner, and the three of them enjoyed the evening together. This story teaches us the importance of taking responsibility for our actions. It also reminds us that no matter how flawed our parents may be, they are still our parents and deserve our respect, just as parents should respect their children. It encourages us to live in a way that our children will be proud of and want to emulate. Most importantly, it teaches us to be honest about our feelings with those we care about, regardless of the possible consequences. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more interesting updates on the latest Nigerian movies. See you next time.